What is up, Coach? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And if you're just listening to the podcast and wondering why I was laughing, I'm wearing a hat that says Coach that I got at the conference I just came back from. And when I said Coach Emma, I was pointing at it, and I thought that was funny. Okay. So if you've been listening to the show for a while, thank you for listening again. If you could rate the show, subscribe, or share the show with someone who you think it might help, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. Because the goal of the show is to debunk the crap that is out there and to get real information that is actually actionable in front of people who need it. So there's, again, a lot of crap out there when it comes to the fitness industry. So today's episode, I'm going to be very vulnerable. I kind of am pretty open, so it's not really like a new thing for me. But I'm going to talk about the things that I struggle most with regards to health and fitness, because I think a lot of people think coaches don't struggle. And if your coach tells you they don't struggle with anything, they are lying. But most of us struggle with stuff. And after going to the conference, there were a couple things that I'm like, I definitely still struggle with that. So here goes nothing. Number one thing that I still struggle with, and I might do another, this is my story kind of episode thing, but for those of you who don't know, I've struggled with my weight for a long time. I used to be about 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And as a D1 athlete, when I was playing water polo. Why? Because I was eating like an asshole. And I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was not taking care of myself. I wasn't sleeping very much, if any. And basically wasn't doing what I talk about, except for exercise. I've always exercised and drank water. Those are like my two things that I'm fairly consistent on. The things that I don't struggle with, I'd say. But I will say I struggle with exercising too much. But one of my biggest struggles is food specifically, because growing up, a lot of the food was restricted at my house. And so we would hide things from my dad. I love my parents. This is not to talk down to them at all. It's just, this is what happened. This was my experience. And my dad was very controlling of the foods in the house. And he would even order for me at restaurants. And my mom and I would hide food from him. We would go to fast food and throw it away before we got home, or put the wrappings or the trash from the fast food in the garbage bin directly so he wouldn't see it, or in another garbage bag that we'd hide in the garbage bin. My mom would keep sweet treats hidden away somewhere in the house, and I always found them and I would eat them, and we just wouldn't talk about it. And I guess I would use food to kind of help me feel good. I don't know. But I've always kind of struggled with that. And I mean, I don't have anything clinically diagnosed. This is definitely an emotional thing, but I do have what you would call food noise. I'm constantly thinking about food all the time. What has helped me is recognizing that and not giving into that. And tracking has actually helped me quite a bit. It's kind of like a regulator for me. Having a consistent eating schedule has helped me tremendously as well. But it is something that I still struggle with. And listening to the GLP-1 talk about it, I was like, I definitely still have that. I just now have better habits and behaviors and understand why I have quote unquote food noise. So that is something I still tend to struggle with. And then the second thing, that's probably the other biggest thing that I tend to struggle with, is exercise. I used to use exercise as a coping mechanism for everything. I also used it as a way to punish myself for overindulging. I used to have a really unhealthy relationship with exercise. So a good example of this is during COVID, where my husband lived. He lived with his parents. They're about an hour away from where I lived. So we would kind of alternate. He would come up for the weekends, stay with my parents and I, this was in California where you literally couldn't go anywhere or do anything with anybody, then I would go and stay with him and his parents for the weekend, and we kind of alternate, so we get to hang out every week. And they had a brewery, or like a tap house, like beer. I really like beer, if you haven't heard that before. And we would go, and probably, I like fancy beer, so it's not like a 3-5%, it's like a 9-12% beer, and we'd have like 2. And then there was a bakery that was nearby, and then we would have a lot of baked goods. And that next day, I would work out like twice for multiple hours, do a big hike and swim, or big hike and lift, or big swim and lift. And it was just this constant cycle. So, yeah. And then even further, right when COVID hit, I was a D1 athlete. I played water polo in college. And back then, exercise was primarily a tool for performance, but I also didn't like the way I looked. So I would still do double days, even in the off season. And I would tell myself, oh, this is because I'm trying to get better at my sport. But really, it was because I was trying to burn extra calories to get leaner. And then once I was lean, to stay lean. And I ate a lot of food, but probably was still underfueling given the amount of activity I was doing. And then COVID hit. My senior season of water polo was canceled, and we weren't allowed to see anybody or do anything. And I had to move back home. So, you know what I did? I just worked out all the time because exercise makes you feel good. And it was a distraction from the hard feelings that I was feeling. And it was a way to just numb myself, I guess. I was running a lot, doing some sort of conditioning at home with weights or body weight strength training. When the pools finally opened, they closed the outdoor pools, people, craziness in California. When they finally opened, I was swimming a lot. So hiking, swimming, running, walking, lifting, just a lot of activity. And it was disordered because I thought if I didn't do this, that I would get fat, or I would never skip a day, and then I would get injured because I was over-exercising, like overtraining, not adequately recovering, not fueling, and I wasn't using it to take care of myself or take care of my body, but as a form of like a drug. So it's still like a thought that comes through my head. I do not do that anymore. I do not do that. I was still working before I hired my coach last April. So it's been about a year. Shout out to Garrett. I was still working out too much. I was still strength training too much, but I wasn't using exercise as a way to punish myself. I just like to train now. So now I train appropriately 4 days a week. And for me, this works. And I actually take deload weeks. I took a whole week off and I didn't flip out this past week. I was very excited to get back into training because I love it. But this is not something I would have done. Even last year at the conference, I found a way to exercise. Why? I can take 3 days off. It's not a big deal. So my relationship has drastically shifted with exercise. But it's a thought that will come through my head when I'm uncomfortable, sad, upset, frustrated. I usually want to work out to kind of numb myself. So I don't have to think about what's going on. It's quite a bit less, but it is something that still happens. Try to think. Oh, well, there's a lot of things. I still struggle with the scale. I still struggle with seeing the number on the scale. I've probably lost like last year, so 2025. I think I lost like 30 pounds-ish, around there, 25, 30 pounds. I was holding extra body fat, very stressful time in my life, so very, very fair. I've definitely built muscle, but I have put on weight since getting to my low, so I'm about 10 pounds up from where I was at my lowest. And even though I feel really good, my hormones are in a healthy place, my gut health is in a healthy place, my strength is through the roof, like I'm the strongest that I've ever been, it still screws with me. It still affects me. So I have not weighed myself since I got back from the conference, which is super silly because it's just a data point, and I tell my clients this all the time. But it still screws with me. So I will weigh myself tomorrow, but it's been probably a week since, and it really doesn't matter because I can drop 5 pounds in a day, but that number still bothers me. So it's really silly because I know all the science, I know all the things, and it is still something that screws with me mentally. So, and I talk to my clients about this all the time. I'm like, it's silly, it's a number. But I also tell them that I do still struggle with it too. So I very much so empathize and resonate with the feelings that they have. And my body image. I still don't like the way I look, which is ridiculous because I look pretty awesome. My husband has never once, even when I was 30 pounds heavier, he has never once been said, "You don't look good." Not once. We've been together for, a long time now. I think almost 8 years-ish. Yeah, long time. Long time. So he's seen me ups and downs. And this is definitely the healthiest I've been at the weight that I'm at. If we took side-by-side photos, you could see I've leaned out, I've built muscle, but it still bothers me. So those are the things that I can think of that's not true. I talk about this a lot. I'm very type A. I like to control things. I struggle with stress management. Shocker. I don't like to chill. I don't like to relax. I don't like to do things just for fun. There has to be a purpose behind things. I have drastically improved at this thing, but it is still something that I struggle with quite a bit. So that's kind of the other big thing. So doing like meditation and mindfulness activities and sitting in silence, it's a struggle. I've been setting better boundaries at work. I've been time blocking my schedule so that I have a shut off time, stop working time for myself. But it's a constant struggle, and stress is the reason for all my hormonal issues. Mental stress. It's not really physiological because right now I'm training pretty appropriately and I'm eating a pretty good amount of calories. It's literally just mental. It's just mental. So, and again, way better than I have been in the past. But I struggle to let go of the things I can't control, which adds too much stress to myself. I tend to sign up for too many things, but I've actually been really good about this. So I'm going to give myself some kudos there. I've removed some things from my plate this year, which has helped. And so it's something I still struggle with. And there's probably other things. But point being, the reason I wanted to highlight these things is I am a coach, but I'm a coach because I've been there. I've struggled with probably most things that most people have struggled with: relationship to food, relationship to exercise, body image, the scale, overtraining, undereating, sleep, stress management, hormone issues, gut health issues. I've been there for the most part. And so that is why I coach. And the cool thing is, at the conference that I went to, all the coaches are pretty much the same. They don't coach to make money. They coach because they care and because they've been there. And there are coaches out there that don't care and that just do it for the money. And if your coach tells you they don't struggle with anything, one, they're lying to you. But 2, that's probably a red flag. Because if a coach isn't open and honest with you, they don't actually care about you. And they want you to think that they're perfect, which they're not. Nobody's perfect. We all screw up. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So most coaches struggle with something. I am one of them. I struggle with a lot of things. And I kind of wanted to record this because for my clients, like, you can come to me with anything. And I've probably been there. I'm probably struggling with some of the same things that you are. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to make you feel bad. I'm just here to listen, to help guide you, to help you make the next best decision for you, for your goals. Not to help you beat yourself up, not to help you feel bad. I mean, I don't know why that would help. So partially for that, partially too for people out there who think all fitness professionals have it together. We don't. We do not. Most of us struggle with so many things. And a lot of us have our own coaches too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would say, and I was a hater about this before, I felt insecure if I had a coach as a coach. I was like, I'm a bad coach if I need a coach. But no, I would say the best coaches have coaches. Or have had a coach in the past. So that's the other thing. I don't feel insecure about it at all. I talk about my coach all the time. So yeah. But anyway, TLDR of this episode is all coaches struggle with something. And if they tell you they don't, they're lying to you. So anyway, if this episode was helpful, if you could share this episode, rate the show, or subscribe, that just helps me get in front of more people, which helps me help more people, which is the goal of this show. And if you're like, after listening to this, wow, I really resonate with Coach Emma, me, hello. And I'd like to reach out and see if we'd be a good fit. Just book a link click the link in the show notes to book a call, and then we could just chat and see if we're a good fit. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.